Hey, what's up, y'all? It's AWTM, and we are back with another Sistas recap. This is season 7, episode 17. The episode is entitled Taste of Freedom. In the episode's description, it reads Gary has reached his limit with Andy, so he charges her up with a deadly ultimatum. Either she marries him or Jordan will pay the price. Fatima's intuition about Hayden and Marie Willis is confirmed when she sees them together. So the episode starts off with Jordan waking up from his drink being spiked by Ethan, and then it cuts to Ethan being in Gary's office. It looks like he paid some sex workers, both male and female, to pose in pictures to make it look like Jordan was messing with them. So the pictures look really, really bad, and this looks bad for Jordan. Now, Andy comes to Jordan's house and finds him discombobulated. He says he can't remember anything and seems like he's in pain. Andy comforts him. At the bank, Maurice talks to Sabrina about Grayson moving in with him and how he is not used to someone being there. Now, Rich pops up at the bank and Sabrina calls him out on trying to think that she was trying to trap him and withholding getting down with her. So Sabrina tells them that they need to kind of step back and put things on hold and maybe not do the get down anymore. Now, Fatima arrives at work in the parking garage and she sees Miss Marie getting out the car with Hayden. So Miss Marie walks into the office and she asks Hayden, what is he up to? And she talks about mixing business with pleasure. He thinks Fatima wants him and she makes it very clear that she doesn't and calls Andy when she gets upstairs to let her know exactly what's going on. At the airport, Tony talks to Danny about getting down in the rain, and she's like, oh, we don't do that. I'm not messing up my hair. But he also tells her that he's having dinner with Tiffany and the kids. Danny is skeptical about it and about Tiffany's intentions. She asks, could she go? He said, no, it's going to be her and the kids. He continues to pound his chest and say that he's the VP and he knows a million places in the airport where he has access to that they can actually get down. Ethan arrives at Jordan's apartment and they talk about what time he left. Ethan lies and said he left around 9 p.m. Ethan plays it off like they talked about women and said the drinks were pretty strong in order to kind of excuse some of Jordan's questioning. Now, at the salon, Trey arrives and he says he came back to check on Pam's business plan. Is it me or is he overly interested in her business? We have to see if Trey is really on the up and up, but something just rubs me the wrong way about Trey. Now, Zach arrives at the salon and he talks to Karen about how she's feeling, and she tells him she would call, but she doesn't want to get cussed out. I know that's right. He tells her that him and Aaron are on good terms, and he wished that she can work things out with Fatima, and Karen immediately declines their offer. Now, Andy arrives at the office, and she sees Miss Marie in Hayden's office. Miss Marie tells her that her husband leaked some info on her and insults Andy and asks Hayden to explain to her what they were discussing. Miss Marie and Hayden flirt when she leaves. Andy questions Hayden, and he tells her to mind her business. Fatima called them Eartha Kitt and Eddie Murphy. I'm telling you, I screamed, okay? Now, Maurice arrives at home and Grayson is not there. And now he's missing him. He calls him and it goes straight to voicemail and he thinks Grayson blocked him. Now, Maurice, that's what you get. You acted like you didn't want to be bothered. He was smothering you, but now you're missing him when you get home. Now, Tony calls Danny before he sits down at the restaurant with Tiff. She has already ordered his favorite food. She calls Danny Fanny. She thought that's why they haven't seen as much of him lately is because of Danny. She starts to reminisce and the kids, they kind of feed into it. And then they ask about Danny and Tiffany shuts them down and says Danny is not family. Tony says she is family to him. Now, Tiff suggests that they should have movie night, just like old times with the kids snuggled in between them in the bed. Girl, are you crazy? So Danny is exactly right to have her thoughts about Tiff because she's definitely trying to put the moves back to get her ex-husband back to be her husband and her to have her family back. Sabrina calls Andy when she is cooking for Jordan and talks about her problems with Rich and her fertility process. They talk about Rich thinking that Sabrina is trying to trap him And then he kind of gives her 2 cents about them not being a good match for each other because they want different things. And we've been saying this, like, why are you wasting your time with Rich? He does not want kids, and this is something that you really want. Now, Maurice arrives at the bar, and Grayson took all of his stuff and got the F out of Dodge. The bartender encourages him to go get Grayson back, and then he sees Grayson at the bar talking to someone. He confronts him, and Grayson explains that that's just his co-worker, and Maurice tells him he doesn't want him and doesn't want anything to do with him anymore, but he does. I don't know why Maurice is playing this game. He's going to end up losing a really good guy. Now, Fatima is home reading to Michael. Zach comes in and he admires them. He also talks to Fatima and tells her that he did go visit Karen, and she asked how did that go. He said fine, and he tells Fatima that he really wants them to work things out for the sake of the kids and kind of get on the same page. Fatima says she will try, so we'll see how that works out. Now, Karen gets a call that her insurance has lapsed, and she has a week to get it together. She sees Trey in the midst of this kissing up on another woman and takes pictures. I knew it was something off about Trey. Now, I hope Pam does not think she's just hating or anything like that, because he was all booed up with this other woman, and Karen did right by getting pictures to get proof. Now, Jordan arrives at home and sees that Andy has cooked. She talks to him about his drinking and tells him that she loves him. Now, all the while, Gary is at his office listening because he does have both of their places bugged. He heard every word that Jordan said. Jordan asks, can they pray together? And she tells him that Penelope is alive and that they're going to testify against Gary. Gary hears all of this. Jordan gets upset and Gary is enraged. Now, I knew that Andy was not going to hold this back from Jordan, being that he's going through it and how much he really actually loves him. They did tell each other they loved each other on this episode, so we'll see what happens with that, and that's going to infuriate Gary more, of course, but telling him that Penelope is alive and Gary hearing that was a big mistake. Now, at Danny's, Tony is there, and she didn't hear him come in the night before. She asked about the dinner. He said the kids asked about her and tells her that Tiff said nothing about her. Wow. Okay. Danny wants to get down, and Tony tells her that he has to go and that she was asleep last night when he came in, so it won't be any action that morning. Now, Andy arrives at the parking garage, and Gary just pops up out of nowhere. He then starts to show her all these compromising pictures of Jordan. And she's like, what are you up to? This is Photoshop. We got through something before. We can get through this again. So Andy is not even buying it. So he then tells her that he's going to release the pictures. And Andy asks, like, why are you so obsessed with my boyfriend? Duh, Andy, because he's obsessed with you. He's not obsessed with Jordan. He's obsessed with having you as a possession. He then explains that the money that he gave Jordan was through the cartel and says it's dirty money. He then explains that he can get Jordan in a lot of trouble with the cartel by saying that Jordan didn't repay that money and they would immediately do something to him. So he's trying to set Jordan up to get unalived by the cartel, which is very scary. So Andy is like, what is going on? He tells her that he has both of their houses bugged. She calls him a monster. Now, at that point, he threatens Andy and tells her if she does not marry him, then he will tell the cartel that Jordan did not pay the money back. So he pulls out a ring and tells her to stop working with Penelope or she will end up just like his son. Now, that is the craziest stuff I ever heard in my life. You don't even care that you unalived your own child. And then to tell Andy that she will end up just like your son, like, he is so unhinged and so crazy that it just doesn't make any sense. So we'll see what happens in the future episodes. I hope that she does not go through and get forced into marrying Gary. I hope she actually tells Jordan what's going on instead of keeping it from him. I just don't know how this is going to play out at the time, but I will be back with some more commentary about what could happen in these situations. And that's all I have for now. This has been AWTM. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, follow, and I will see you next time. Bye.